We're at SoCal Speed Shop headquarters in San Dimas, California. We go through the process of putting one of our step box 32 chassis together. We have all the components out on a table, and we're going to show you how easy it is to make that happen. So the goal is to show you how easy it is to put one of our frames together. Time-wise, everything does bolt on. So we have the frame here, and then we have all the components on the table. And, you know, within an afternoon with your homies, all of a sudden you got one of those. Sorta, but it's a start, and it's a good start. Okay, so right behind me is the SoCal Speed Shop Roadster 001. That car was built in '97. It was it was Brookville body #1 as well. We got all the components from Brookville in pieces. So car's chassis #1, Brookville #1, and that car's been through the ringer. It's been through a bunch of motors. It's actually, with SEMA, it was one of the E-Rods, so it's a smog legal LS car. They built a 55 at the same time. So it's got a ton of history, and it's old faithful, you know, it just goes and goes. So stoked to have it here. Okay, super excited here. So Pete Eastwood came on board with us about 7 months ago. He has been instrumental for over 50 years in the hot rod industry. Chassis guru, 32 guru, basically the chassis that we're going to put together today. Him and Jake came up with in '97 the step box concept, but it's basically mimicked after what he's done over those years. So Pete's going to step in, show you the components, and like I said earlier, show you how easy it is to put one of our frames together and have it be a roller.
My name's Pete Eastwood. A lot of you might know me as P. Wood, and I'm kind of a hot rod guy. I built my first 32 in 1970 when I was 18. It was a 3-window coupe. It was my daily driver for 5 years and my sometimes driver for another 4 years. 9 years, I put 125,000 miles on it. I think I went through 24 states and different cross-country trips, and great car. Well, this is a SoCal chassis, basic platform that's underneath all the SoCal cars. It's a design that actually Jake and I came up with years ago, that as far as the cross members and a lot of that stuff. And it's simple, and it's stout, and it functions really well. And I can personally say it survived a few crash tests that I personally was involved with, so I can vouch for their crash test worthiness. I think on this build today, this assembly program, we'll just start at the front and work back. Doesn't matter where you start, all the parts have to go together, so we'll probably start at the front, work our way back. I'll probably try and share a few little assembly tips that just give you a better end product, as far as, I mean, simple things like reaming the bushings so that the shackles move freely, and you know, we'll go over set and caster and those type of things. And we'll start with the front end, and we'll start with the hairpins. You know, there's the 4-bar hairpin back and forth, you know, discussion, and you know, Pete Chaporis and Pete and Jake's pioneered the 4-bar in the street rod, hot rod industry. And back at that point in time, your choice on front axles was a Henry Ford axle that had been dropped to get it low, or a Super Bell axle. And that was the only aftermarket axle really available. And a tube axle doesn't like a hairpin. It creates a situation that's less than ideal. Now that we have I-beam axles available, then it gives us the ability to go back to the traditional hairpin front radius rod, and it's a great look. It's super traditional. With the I-beam axle, it's compatible, and we like the look, and it's super traditional. We use the hairpins on our I-beam front ends, and it all works really good. Well, the SoCal axle it's a forged axle, just like Henry Ford's. It's a catalog item. It's a 4-inch axle, but it actually measures closer to 4.5 inches deep. With that and a reversed I spring and a flattened out front cross member, you can get a decent low ride and still have a good ride. So you get the aesthetics of a nice low car and still have some ride. The spring mimics a Ford spring, and the way the leaves are tapered and the stagger between from each leaf to the next, the stagger gets smaller as it goes up to the shorter leaves, and all that is important for the spring to work like it should. This is ready to go under the chassis, and get that in, get it centered up on the center bolt, kind of halfway square it up. I'll do some measuring there, and then we'll build the hairpins and install them, and I'll show you some adjustment tips on hairpins and getting them in. On a dry run assembly, on any time you're building a chassis and you're putting it all together, we assemble it, the first time we assemble it with just the main leaf. With a bare frame, there's no weight. And if you're trying to overcome a full spring pack, you can't flatten it out enough to mimic ride height. And the front axle and the rear axle need to be at ride height relationship with the frame in order to get all your caster adjustments. In the rear, your pinion angle adjustment, all that stuff needs to be done at ride height. So we use a main leaf because that gets the axle located so you know where it belongs. You don't want to adjust everything and then put it together and find out that the spring's augered into the backside of the front cross member. It just, with a main leaf only for doing all your adjustments, it makes it really simple. Then you can swing the front end down, the rear end down, put your spring pack on, and then swing it back up for final assembly. Got a center point on the rear cross member, and we're just squaring the front end. So we're 115 and 3/16. And 115 and 3/16. Can't get any better than that. So the front end square, the upper hairpin leg is basically set. There's no drag on the spring and the cross member. Everything's nice and neutral. It's not too far back, not too far forward. So the next thing is to set the caster. And what I like to do on 32s, as a rule of thumb, the frame's flat from here to here. Kick up starts there, and then it makes a turn at the firewall and angles up. Anyhow, this flat section, in round numbers, it ends up being around 4 degrees downhill for a hot rod with a nice stance. So I set them at 4 degrees because that's how it's going to be in the world. And then I set my caster, and I do all that with my angle finders. So now is when you set the caster. So we're going to eyeball it, but normally I would use an angle finder and just, that's down 4, and this is whatever you like, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I do all the adjusting with the bottom clevis. This clevis is just about dead in line with the spring perch. So if you start lengthening and shortening this one, then you're moving this back and forth, and then you're moving the spring, and you're going to get bind and all that going on. So once I get all that where it's all happy and neutral and everything, then I do the adjustment with the bottom one. So I'm just going to look and see where we're at on this bottom hole. So we got to go out about 2 threads. Go right on the kingpin surface. That's a machine surface, and it's going to give you the true caster. So you got 4 degrees downhill here and 4 or 5 downhill there. All there is toe in and caster on these cars that you can adjust. Caster, you ask 6 different guys and you're going to get 6 different opinions on what the optimum caster is for these type of cars. A lot of guys like a lot of caster. Personally, I like a little less. 3 to 5 degrees is plenty. A lot of guys like 7. It's whatever you like. The more caster, the straighter it goes at speed, the harder it is to turn when you're going slow. Less caster steers a little easier when you're maneuvering in the parking lot. The other thing about these cars, which we won't get into on this build, but these cars are really sensitive on wheels and tires. Balance and a lot of the tires that are popular today, the Coker Firestone bias ply tires, are notoriously out of round. So for any of these cars to work to their best, tires need to be trued, they need to be round, and they need to be really well balanced. And the more offset you have away from the kingpin, the worse all that gets if it's not as it should be. hold everything in place. Right now, we've got the rear end centered in the car. It's squared with the car. Pinion angle's about where we want it. It's just slightly up. And the ladder bars are adjusted to fit the space to get the rear end in that mode. So that's all you can expect from the rear end. Okay, on this build, we offer two different brake kits. Our most popular is the one that looks like a Ford backing plate with the Buick drum, and all the caliper and rotor and everything are contained inside of all that. But on this build, we're using our other brake kit. It uses a Corvette style caliper. It's all the nice feature of this one. It even pulls the front wheels in a little bit more. I think it's 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch per side. Just, you know, the closer the wheel is to the kingpin, the better the car drives, and that's something that a lot of people overlook or aren't really well aware of. The closer the wheel is to the kingpin, the happier the steering is. In your kingpin kit, there's shims. You're supposed to shim this. Shims that go in there to keep the up and down just right. And that's a feature of this brake kit. It does bring the wheels in closer, and which is a good thing. Looks to be just straight. So a lot of people don't know. It's really important for the box to be centered when you're going straight down the road, because the gears in the box are cut with a high point when everything's on center, so it's nice and snug. And as soon as you roll either way off of center, either right or left, the box gets a little freer.
Wrong choice of words. Get to it, buddy.
Where the bell housing goes on, and there's that flat spot. That's usually over here. See, what you heat it and bend it there and there, so it just clears the motor, and that puts the brake pedal right where it should be, and then it gives you more room to get the steering column in. Brake lines is something you can love or hate. I think a lot of people hate them. Just the chore of getting good flares, so you get good seals and all that. And SoCal offers a complete brake kit. It's all ready to go. The tabs are on the frame for the hoses. All you got to do is drill and tap for the clamps to hold the frames, the lines to the frame itself. But it speeds things up. And if you're an amateur and you've struggled with flaring brake lines, you'll know.
All right, so the hub and knockoff kit that we use is from Trago Engineering out of here in Upland. It's what we've used forever for our knockoff hub kits. Readily available. Nice piece.
I earned it though.
All right, everybody, so there you go. We got one of our SoCal Speed Shop rollers completely done and on its wheels and tires. Okay, so our website is www.est1946.com, which we'll post down here. And we'll have all the other stores' websites as well, where you can buy the components and anything else you need to complete this project or anything else that you need that we sell. Talk to Pete, he'll walk you through it. We can sell you a complete roller like this.
Every morning I got up, polished the Halibrands, came back in, took a shower, and then woke my girlfriend up. Every single morning. I polish those wheels every fucking day.